Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Bold Badass Business Show, where we bring you badasses from all over the world. And you all, today I have a badass right here in my office, the amazing Sherry Wood, who has been a writer for over 35 years. And actually, Sherry is staying in my Airbnb here. And so we got to talking, and I thought, oh my God, she's interesting. Let's put her on the show. And Sherry, scoot over so everybody can see without half your face, if you would. You might have to get a little close here. All right. So let's start out. I want to ask you, first of all, really glad you're here. And I want to ask you, you became a writer. What was that moment that you started writing when you were like 14? What was it that moved
I
you?
wanted to escape my home life
Yeah,
and get away from the bad things happening.
yeah. So it was a way to get going and get to get to get out of there, basically, through your mind.
Yeah.
You know, I s- I started writing myself when I was around 12 or 13, and that was, I remember writing a really bad poem, but gave it to everybody on Valentine's Day. But it kept me busy, you know, it kept me
Yeah.
like busy. So we get really real on here, and we share. We've talked about all sorts of stuff on here. So, what would you say? Um, what would you say is the thing that you most love about writing that has come out of this time, getting away from the
Being
crazy
broke.
parents, being broke?
That's awesome. No,
Okay.
just traveling. I like to travel a lot and write about experiences. So I've written a lot about things that have happened in my life, and that's why I love to write. It's like I'm very shy. I'm very introverted, so writing is a way for me to share my life with people.
I love it. And you have lots of books out there. You have 4 or 5 or 6 on Amazon, right? And then
I
other
have
places.
4 or 5 on Amazon. I used to be on Smashwords, but they banned a book of mine, so I took all my books off. So now I'm on Amazon, and I have some books on BarnesandNobles.com as well.
Okay, awesome. So basically, for you, writing is your vocation. It's your calling.
Yeah.
You know, from the word vocari. Vocation comes out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we want folks to tune in and be excited by what we have to share. You
I'm
know?
Gen X. This is my Gen X vibe.
I don't even know which generation I am.
The reason why I write is because my writing is real. I'm real. I will never be fake. I will never say anything fake, do anything fake. I don't write for money. I write because I love to write. I am who I am, and I always will be who I am.
And you know, I think what's powerful is that when we are who we are, when we embrace our weird, then we give other people permission to do it, to embrace their own weird, you know? And we all have it. Even those people, even my, I don't want to say a family member's name, but even those people who kind of have that debutante vibe, in there's a real person. There's a real person inside that person, waiting to come out, waiting to be there. Okay, puppy, what do you need? Fezziwig's over here, the foster failure y'all have heard about. He wants to be on the air too, but we're not letting him on here. So if you had it to do over, if you had all this writing to do over, what would you do first?
Nothing. I wouldn't
change anything. You keep it all the same. And why would
I write about my life experiences, so I would have to live a totally different life if I was going to do my writing over again.
That could be fun.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, let me ask you this. What questions would you like to be asked?
I don't know. I really don't. It's up to you, whatever you want to ask me.
Well, you know, really, it's about a conversation, you know? It's about us having a conversation about your work, which hopefully will inspire somebody else to want to write, or maybe they've got a bunch of notebooks stuck away somewhere and they're not sharing their notebooks,
Mhm.
maybe they're an introvert. I became a lot more introverted with COVID, so I get it. I was more of an extrovert before. But, somebody out there is probably scribbling away and sticking it all into their desk and not doing anything with it.
Mhm.
You know? What would you say to that person?
I mean, if they want to be a writer, just there are ways to do it. Now it's easier than ever with Amazon and just do it if that's what you feel like doing, if that's what you're passionate about.
So, how much writing would you say you do every day? Come here, honey.
At the moment, I just finished a book, so. But I would say maybe 5,000, 10,000 words a day.
How many
depending.
pages is that about?
400?
400?
Depends on the font.
Oh, really?
Maybe 10, 20. I don't know.
10 or 20 pages a day is a lot. That's a whole lot.
Mhm.
That's a good writing day. I remember when I was writing my dissertation, and I was like, if I got 10 pages, I was like, that was a miracle.
Yeah.
But it was a different thing. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to put this guy out. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Go out. All right, that's better. Yay. So now we can have a little quiet and not have Doggy doing his little thing over here. So, you would say to people, just write. What would you say, when you realized you've got a world, your weird is actually a world? Was that a moment that you said, oh my God, everything in my life is what it's meant to be? What was that moment for you? What was it like when you realized your weird was a world?
We were just drunk on Prosecco when I said that. I don't know. I just live my life and like to write about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I feel like that our conversation is really kind of quiet and not going too great. So I think maybe we'll just finish early.
Okay.
So, is there something that you'd like to say to the people who are wanting to, wanting to do something? They're wanting to see their name in writing. They want to have something on Amazon. Is there something you would say to them?
I mean, yeah, it's totally possible. Just to write the book, get it to be, a novel length. Maybe let some friends read it, get some advice on it, and go from there. But if you have something to share, definitely share it.
Yeah, your latest one was over 600 pages, right? It's huge.
Yeah, it's about 600 pages.
That's a lot.
83,000 words.
I have never written anything that long. That's incredible. That's like a Dickens novel right there.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn amazing. I think the most I ever wrote was 250 pages, and that was the dissertation, and that had been done in chunks. All right, little pieces here and there, which did get published, but it's very different from writing a fiction book, a fictional book. So I'm wondering.
It's sci-fi. It's called None of This Was Supposed to Happen, and it's on BarnesandNobles.com.
Mm-hmm. None of this is supposed to happen.
None of this was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Wow. And it's sci-fi, and it's semi-biographical. Is that right?
No, not this one. That would be Sugar and the Raw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they all had a little element of that, but I haven't read them, so.
I mean, almost anything I feel like you write is inspired by something that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the title, none of this was supposed to happen, because when you think about life, most things happen by accident. You meet people by accident. Even if you get married to them, you met them by accident. Most things were not supposed to happen, and they did. So I always find it interesting to sit back and think about that.
That's interesting. Yeah, like what would it be if that person that you had that relationship with, if it was a completely different person that showed up, and where would you be?
Yeah.
Well,
That's true.
I think that's something that, you know, sometimes I think, and this is probably just being, you know, in my late 50s now, but I wonder what would have happened if I had pursued that theater stuff, or what would have happened if I kept sending poetry to the New Yorker, what would happen? But there's no way to know.
Yeah, you don't know. That's true.
But you get to create it.
Mm-hmm.
In your novels, you can create whatever you want.
Yeah.
Which is joyful.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's painful too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your first book, Sugar in the Raw, was that the first, or that's the first you published?
That was the first I published.
That's
I've
the
been
first you
writing
published.
books for a very long time.
Like 30.
It's not the first book I published. It's one of the first books I put on Amazon.
Okay.
There's also around 7. There's a book called The Summer of No Apologies.
I like that title, The Summer of
Thanks.
No Apologies.
There's a book called Baby Holler
Mm-hmm.
that follows a motorcycle gang through 3 decades of the motorcycle, the biker club's lives. So yeah, I've just written a ton, and I had a ton of books on Smashwords, like I said, but they banned one of my books, so I just
So you took everything off.
down.
Yeah, F them. What the heck?
Well, they banned around 7 because it had to do with, I mean, it was about a teenage prostitute, and they're
Mhm.
like, well, it's about teenagers having sex. And I'm like, yeah, it's about a teenage prostitute. And if you don't think teenagers are having sex, I don't know what kind of world you live in.
For real.
So they banned the book. But Charlotte's Web is banned now. So the world's just gone completely insane.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff.
So
people are
if your
burning.
book gets banned, you actually did something great.
I
Congratulations.
So. Yeah, because you at least were contrarians, and people were like, wait, you ruffled some feathers. So what's the point? Otherwise, what you created is an original.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. Oh my Lord. Yeah, it's amazing to me, some of the stuff that I hear. And I certainly, when I taught college, I had a few irate parents send me stuff and be like, you know, why are you insisting on inclusive language? And I said, well, because first of all, your daughter needs to see herself represented in language and not just men, you know?
Yeah.
And you have a daughter. And I would think as the dad of your daughter, you'd want her to have that, you know, to see herself. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But people get some crazy ass ideas, and they ban books and they burn books. They burn them. What the heck? You know, we think that we're living in a society with free speech. Really not true. Not true. In terms of the educational system and what they put into the canon. So let me ask you this about the first book. I know Sugar in the Raw was about your first big relationship. Tell us more about that. And get into the wild stuff, because it's interesting.
Well, I moved to Chicago in 95. And it was really cool. There was a cool scene going on in 95. And my sister told me about this place called No Exit Cafe. And they had spoken word night, and I went there on spoken word night. It was like Wednesday. And that's where I met Jack. And that's what Sugar in the Raw is about. Jack he was a male prostitute, and at the time Chicago was really gritty. I mean, it's still gritty. It'll probably always be gritty, but if Boys Town, for example, there was a lot, like a big gutter punk scene. and that he was involved with. And but I mean, it's changed now. But it's just about falling in love with someone wrapped up in chaos. And I was 19 and just moved there from North Carolina. So I had this kind of like small vision of the world. And then when I met Jack, it kind of like, I don't know, I found out some interesting things about what life could be like. But he was my first love, and he was a great person. And I think about him every day.
What happened with the relationship? Did y'all just drift apart, or did something
Yeah,
happen?
I mean, we
that
were
you
both
couldn't-
very young,
Mhm.
and there was a lot going on in our lives. So, yeah, we just kind of drifted apart.
And Jack was a male prostitute. Like, that's wild. So many people would not choose that for their first one. And he even asked you, why are you choosing me for your first relationship?
I mean, it's just, he had a bad, I think he ran away from home when he was very young, and
He had to
sometimes
live.
people
Yeah.
think, it may be better to run away from home, because sometimes home can be the worst place.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite movies is My Own Private Idaho, which
Mhm.
stars River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves, which is
Mhm.
about male prostitution. And it's kind of weird because Jack looked a lot like River Phoenix.
Oh, yeah?
And there's another River Phoenix movie where they actually shot a scene at No Exit Cafe where I met Jack.
Huh.
So it was like this whole like weird, I don't know. It's strange to me, but yeah, Sugar and the Raw is very very much based on some personal stuff.
What would you say some of the major themes are that run through the book, aside from young love and, falling in love, and falling in love with somebody very different from what you've known in the past?
It's very dark. It's also about survival.
Mhm.
It's from two different POVs, like the woman, her perspective, and then Jack's perspective.
Mhm.
And so you get to know what's going on in their lives.
So both the points of view are pretty equal, like in terms of the amount of time in the book, or does it?
Oh yeah,
Does it kind of go back and forth between them, or
yeah, it goes
by
back
chapters?
and forth. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah,
So it's really kind of creating a dialogue that way.
yeah, definitely.
Interesting. So why'd you choose that format?
I don't know.
What's
It
it
just
about
felt right. I like to. I wanted to get inside his head, and it was also kind of fun to write as a guy, like pretend that I was a dude.
Yeah.
At least a little while. And just kind of, I felt like, I don't know, it was more intimate that way or something.
And you actually, are orchestrating this love between them.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which was there a favorite one of the 2 points of view, or did you
Not
love
really.
them both?
I like them both. Yeah.
I think that's interesting because so much in life, I think we have problems come up that happen because we don't put ourselves in the point of view of someone else.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the reasons I chose literature, is because I knew, well, I can't go live as somebody who grew up in Botswana because I didn't grow up in Botswana, but I can read a book and then I can kind of have something of that experience.
Yeah, that's true.
I can somehow live it a little bit, and maybe have a little bit more understanding.
Yeah.
I remember, a mentor of mine, a writing mentor, he said, go to the most radically different place you can after you finish your college. Just go somewhere really radically different because it will challenge everything you do. And it sounds like you've kind of done that in your characters, is like going to a radically different kind of character than what you grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you thought about what may have motivated that?
Not really. Mm.
I wonder. Is it was it freedom? Was it?
You mean, why do I write from
Well, like
someone else's perspective?
yeah,
or-
and choosing somebody who's very different, like the male prostitute.
Well, different, but I mean,
We're all
I mean-
human. You know?
yeah, I mean, I was very close to him for a little while, so it wasn't that hard to get in his head. I saw the people he hung out with. He told me stories of things that happened to him, so I kind of took that and
Did
used
he
it.
read the book? Did he
No,
read the
passed
book?
away.
So he hasn't gotten to read it.
No.
At least not
Right. Yeah.
not in this format.
Yeah.
You know, that's something too, is, thinking about the people. What if the person who's in this book reads this book, and how are they gonna? You think he would like it?
I
if he
think
had read
so. I think
Yeah.
he would think it was cool.
And he'd think it was cool that he was a character, right, in a book.
But he's on the cover, so it's very obvious that's him on the cover. If you look up the book Sugar and the Raw, that's him. So
You told me a story that I thought was wild too, and it's kind of like how our world, just weird synchronicities happen, because you went to stay with somebody and he had stayed with that person, right? Long after y'all broke up, Jack had stayed. Remember, you told me the story, and it was kind of just this weird coincidence where
well, he stayed with a guy named Vince who eventually became my roommate. I moved to Chicago in 2018, and turns out he had pictures of Jack when Jack stayed there, and it was like, whoa, because I told Vince that we were in love for like a year, and he had all these pictures of Jack. It was like a very random thing. Vince was a photographer, and he would open his door to a lot of like homeless kids in Chicago, and Jack happened to stay there with him for a while. And Vince liked to take pictures of people, and he liked to take pictures of people when they didn't know their picture was being taken.
Yeah.
Which may seem kind of weird now because everyone's so self-obsessed and they take selfies all day. But it's really interesting because Vince took this picture of Jack, and Jack did not know his picture was being taken. And Jack just looks very like in his head. I don't know what he was thinking about at the moment. But I think he was ready to go out. And he's got this like black blazer on and no shirt. Jack never wore a shirt. And I don't know if that may be like a 90s thing. I know I saw a movie recently and there was like a character, and it took place in the 90s, and he wasn't wearing a shirt, and they were kind of like making fun of the fact that, I don't know, the hair and the way people dressed in the 90s or something. But anyway, it was really cool. Yeah, Vince was a cool guy. He also passed away. But there's another picture of Jack in the book that I included.
Inside the book?
That Vince took. Yeah.
Cool. Inside Sugar and the Raw?
Mm-hmm. I like to put pictures in my books that aren't on the cover. If there's like somebody that inspires it, I'll put their picture in there or something.
I think that's cool. I think that gives it another level of, truthfulness or credibility. I mean, it's your life.
Yeah.
Which, you and I were talking the other day about what it means to turn your weird into a world and how that boosts your confidence, how it just turns everything around. And we were talking about some of the possibilities with that. You want to share some of those? Remember, like some of the possibilities that happen when you turn your weird into a world? Like why is that important?
I can't really remember what we were saying.
We talked about compassion. I remember us talking about compassion.
Yeah.
For one thing. And I thought that was cool. Compassion. Which is kind of what you and I talked about before, walking in somebody else's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And having that experience through a work of art.
People relate to to books sometimes when they read them, like the experiences the characters are going
I have
through.
to, or I won't keep reading.
Yeah.
I've had a few books.
Well,
that I
there's
was like,
books I
"Whoa."
love to read that I mean, I read American Psycho, but I'm not like, gonna go chop someone up with an axe. But there's books I love to read that where I don't relate to characters, and there are books I love to read where I do relate to characters, and it just depends. Like, I don't know, but I think we all relate to. What was I watching or the other day where someone was saying something about you relate to a character who is going through a lot, or maybe they're kind of like this dark kind of character or brooding kind of character. You're not going to necessarily do the things they do, but you can still relate to some of the things they're going through. Well, I have no idea where I.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that too. Is that we can have more compassion for the psycho part of people.
Yeah.
Or the parts that are not, the more shadowy parts of ourselves, because we all have them. I mean, everybody has them. I wondered, how do you know you're weird is you're weird? How do you know that you're weird is weird?
I don't know. I think a lot of people just feel like socially awkward or something, and they just feel weird compared to other people who just seem like they've got it all figured out, and they kind of just fit into this mold. And you see people out, and they're like, God, they look perfect. They're wearing the perfect, like, sweater. They're driving the perfect car, and they live in the perfect apartment. And then you may feel like, God, like, what is wrong with me? But there's actually nothing wrong with you. That person may just be trying so hard to be something they're not, and they may be truly uncomfortable even though they look perfect.
Yeah, they're following a superficial script, of what success looks like,
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is really interesting, because when you realized, I'm a writer, I'm an author, I'm a writer, this is what I'm here for. That in and of itself is really countercultural, because most people would be like, you're a what? You do this? Oh, how interesting. A lot of people, now I'm not talking about, like, I love, obviously, because I did my PhD in literature, but a lot of people would be just like, oh, okay, you're not an attorney, you're not a this, you're not a that, you're not a, but
yeah,
we have to do our thing, like what is important to us. And I know when I started my business, I had a lot of people saying, you're never going to make it. You're not good. This isn't going to work out. I had people trying to dissuade me.
Yeah.
And that just made me want to do it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just made me more determined.
Yeah.
To prove them wrong.
Yeah. I think now, also when it comes to writing, I think there's this, I don't know. I read something the other day about someone on TikTok, and they got a book deal because they have a lot of followers. They hadn't even written a book yet.
Oh boy.
And that really bothers me. I'll be honest.
So they got a book deal just because they had a lot of followers on TikTok?
Yeah, a lot. That happens a lot now. So if you feel like you're not popular and that people are not going to care about what you have to say, that's just like, please don't feel that way. If you're writing something or if you're going through something you need to write about, you don't have to share it. Don't feel like you have to share it, but just write.
Just write for the hell of it.
That's how I started. I would write these weird stories in little notebooks and not share them. And then sometimes I would if I felt, I don't know, woke up one day with sudden confidence.
I love that piece of advice. I hope everybody listening that you're thinking about that. You don't need to write for an audience other than yourself.
Yeah.
Just something so good. I'll get up and do my mad, sad, glad pages some days, out of the artist way. And it just is so great to start a day just checking in with myself,
Yeah.
Before I have to go into meetings and be on.
That is a good thing.
It's pretty cool practice. I don't do it enough, but I've been trying to do it more. And I think for everybody listening, writing is such a powerful way to think through things that, um, and to make it concrete, to make something concrete.
Yeah.
Way more than if you speak it,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
right? Because then it's ensconced in this format, and it's there forever.
Yeah.
It's like there forever. It's not gonna. It can't be changed.
Yeah.
It can be changed, but
yeah,
that edition
also,
isn't changed.
I mean, you never know if you write something like there's something I might rewrite soon that I wrote back in like 1999.
Oh wow.
I thought the manuscript was lost, and my ex found it and is gonna send it to me, and I'm excited to read back through it just
You
to
thought
see.
it was lost?
My brain is different now from back then, and it's a very weird book. It's called Tapping into the Aquaculture, and it's about the school for poets, but one of the poets moonlights as a serial killer.
Okay.
But you never know, like if you write something and you're like, oh, whatever, and then you forget about it, or it's something you don't want to share or put out at that point in time, you may change your mind later too. Like you could take something and just decide, well, let me look this back over or see what I can do with it. Or you may start to rewrite it and it may turn into a completely different story. That can also happen, which I find interesting. Sometimes a story just takes over you, and it's like, no, this is where the characters are like, no, this is what we're gonna do, and you're like, oh, okay. And I think that's always fun.
There's that. Yeah, that is. And sometimes there'll be a story, and then there's this character in the story, and you think, oh my God, this character has to have their own book.
Yeah.
This character isn't just supposed to be in this cast of characters. They need their own book. I was thinking about, The Walking Dead. That came to mind. I love that show, actually. The Walking Dead. And you know how Daryl then had his own show? Because he became such a poignant character that people fell in love. I mean, I thought Daryl was incredible, and he had his own show. So something that's in your writing can become important later.
Yes.
And maybe it's actually written for later, and then you refind it at just the right time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like your friend found that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good friend right there.
Yeah, he didn't throw it out after all these years.
Yeah, because that's your baby. Cool. That's like putting a baby in the dumpster.
Yeah, I know.
So if people want to find their weird, and they want to write about it, and they want to somehow bring it into their business, what are some ways that you would suggest that they kind of explore their weird? How can they find it? How can they find the thing that is really different? Because that's so important in business. There are a million coaches out there. There are a million writers, but people come to us for a particular reason because there's some kind of resonance there. What do you think? That's a big question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess just find an outlet and then take it from there.
Just begin.
Yeah.
I remember certain writers saying that they actually will sit down in their chair and not move for 3 hours. Like they make themselves sit down just like a job and write.
Well, I love to do that. But for some people it can be hard to concentrate. I think people have different methods too. Like you can play music. I always make a playlist that relaxes me. You don't want to have anything too distracting.
So you have a playlist that encourages your creativity.
Well, just relaxes me. Just songs that I like that I can have playing in the background. Yeah. So I think it's important to do.
I think that's a great idea, period, for business, for anything. is to have like, your playlist of things that mean something to you for some reason. Now I'm wondering, I bet that some of the folks listening are thinking, I want to hear some of this. I want to hear her read something.
No.
Would you read something for us?
Oh, Lord.
Please, please, please. Just read us a section. Like a section
If
about.
we can pause it and I can have a glass of wine first.
Well, we can't pause it because we're live.
I mean,
but you
I
can
don't
go
know.
get a glass of wine and I'll talk to everybody here
Let's
for a minute.
read something.
I wish I had some of my stuff I could read.
Okay, yeah.
While you go get your stuff to read.
Talk to people.
I'll chat with them while you go grab something.
Okay.
I think Sugar in the Raw, I really enjoyed what you read me the other night of that. Maybe something like that. Maybe that would be good.
Okay.
Here, you can go this way. I have my small little office. Woo!
Okay.
All right, who's excited? She's going to get some of the writing to read us. Put it in the comments here. So you all, we're talking today with Sherry Wood, who has a number of books on Amazon, and she used to have books on Smashwords too until they banned one of her books. And I don't blame her. I'd take my books off. But she's going to read us a little section of one of her books, so that we can get a sense of this world. And I love that the world becomes real when it's put into writing. Something that was just in her mind, or maybe something that she experienced, it was a memory. Suddenly it becomes real, and it becomes really kind of eternal, evergreen. It's always there for people. So have you thought about a book that you would write while we're waiting for her to bring the goodies and read to us? Have you thought of a book that you want to write? Like, I've written my first children's book, and I've got a character who's come to me for the second one, and I started writing that. Her name is Samaya. And the character came first. That was how I started thinking about the book, was through the character. So I wonder, what books do you have in you? I believe we all have books in us. Every single one of us has books in us. And those books can light the way for somebody else. Or maybe just make somebody else feel, oh, somebody else understands me. I'm not alone. Maybe it's not about guiding them. It's just about them finding something in your writing that they can relate to. And I'm also thinking, as we do this, who are our favorite writers and who are our favorite business owners? There have to be some patterns there in terms of the people that we enjoy, reading, listening to, all of that. There are patterns there that for many of us are hidden, It took me forever, you all. When I was in second grade, I remember reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I loved the book, but I didn't understand any of the Christian symbolism, any of that. I just thought it was such a cool story. And years later in college, I took a class where we looked at all the Christian iconography. And then it meant something so much deeper. But I was thrilled because there was that same book that in second grade I put back on the library shelf and said, I'm going to remember this book. There it was. Here she is. Yay. She's here. Come on in. Woohoo. It's time for a little reading. Woohoo. Woohoo.
By the way, can I say that this is my first time ever doing a podcast?
You're doing it. Yay.
And I'm very socially awkward in the first place. So
well, I think, come on over so they can see you a little bit.
Thank you for putting up
I'm
with
glad
me.
you came on. Oh, I'm glad you came on. Well, at first I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know, because we weren't getting going, but then we got going. And that's the cool thing. I find when people relax, and everybody, many of you have never been on a podcast and listen to this. When you get on there, a couple of things, come up with energy, because something about the camera, it adds 15 pounds to it.
You wrote me.
Oh, yeah, show them. I wrote energy up. But, we think, I'm being way too energetic. But truthfully, it's kind of like if you ever go to see opera and they're just up there kind of talking about, or la, 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 la. It's that energy. We got it on camera. It adds weight to us. but it takes away intensity. So it's interesting to me. The camera actually adds physical weight to people, but it like takes away. We have to bring our energy up a little bit. Anyway, what are you gonna read us? What are you gonna read for us?
I guess I will read Sugar in the Raw. I wish I had a physical copy, but I don't.
Well, that's okay. You can read it off the. Thank God for our smartphones.
So that is Jack.
Woo!
Yeah,
Got the hair going.
Yes, it's very 90s. I mean that.
He has got his
poor
super
thing,
gel.
People made fun of him for his hair. I don't know.
I like it. I think it's cool.
He's actually part Native American. He had dark hair, but he bleached it and it looks very windblown. And I mean, it is Chicago, but that he did himself somehow. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, there's another picture of him.
Oh yeah,
That's a nice body for
That's
sure. There we go. There's another
of
picture of him, but you can't see his
Jack.
face.
No, it's another picture that Vince took just because, again, no one knew he was taking these pictures.
He liked to take pictures when nobody knew.
He just took these, like, off the wall pictures.
So read us a little excerpt of Sugar in the Raw.
Okay.
Sugar in the Raw, you all. This is on Amazon, available on Amazon. And there's a little sample available, right?
Yeah, if you go on Amazon, you can, it says read sample. You can read
and we're going to put it, you all, by the way, we'll put it in the freebie vault. So write this down, bit.ly/free from DRB, free from Dr. B. I made it rhyme to make it easy. bit.ly/free from Dr. B, DRB. And when you go in there, we're also going to have some samples of various of her novels in there. We're going to have several samples. So you can go access them and get yourself a cup of hot chocolate, maybe put a little Bailey's Irish cream in it and read away. All right, you ready?
I'm trying to find something.
Okay.
I want to read. Keep talking.
I'm gonna turn
and
this
I will
out.
find something in a minute.
Just choose. Do the thing like, when you go in your library and you have this question, you ask a question and you say, okay, which book do I need? And then a book falls off. It falls off. Or you just go right straight to it.
No. I haven't found the part I want to read yet.
Just grab one. It'll be perfect. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar in the Raw. Who's ready? I love that title, by the way. I think that's a great title.
Thank you.
And I love that these are semi-autobiographical and that you include pictures of the actual places and the people. Excuse me, I got hiccups.
Thanks.
Woohoo!
Oh, my phone's making me switch Amazon accounts.
Oh no. All right, well, can you find it real quick? Oh no.
I can try to.
All right. We may need to wrap. Let's see. Let's try one more time. Just pull it up. It's got to come up. Come on, Sugar in the Raw. And you've got the Kindle version, I see. I never read on Kindle. I'm not, I just can't really, I don't know. I can't see it so well.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it? No, you read it.
I'm just trying to find a part I want, but
I have the feeling that one up here where there was a break.
No,
Right
I don't
there.
wanna read that.
Okay. Just grab one. Yeah, there.
So this is from Josie's perspective when she just arrived in Chicago.
All right. And make sure you read loudly so they can hear.
We arrived in the Windy City at 5 p.m. I went to collect my second bag, the one I had handed over back in Creekville to be placed in the bus's undercarriage. I found out it had been lost at some point during a bus switch. We switched buses in West Virginia and Ohio. I was a little upset, but it wasn't stuff I couldn't live without. I just have to buy clothes soon. Renee didn't seem to care either. Renee is Josie's sister.
Okay.
She whisked us away into a taxi. The wind had its way with her hair as we walked a short distance from Chicago bus station to the cab. So much about the city felt different. Basically, everything did. Excuse me, sir, can you turn the radio to Q101? Renee asked the cab driver the minute we pulled off. She didn't ask me anything, not how I was doing or how my commute was, but I was used to that. She didn't even look at me. Wasn't she interested to see if her baby sister had changed over the last year? Didn't she want to know if I had even more freckles, if my hair was even bushier? No, all she cared about was music. Shortly after our dad abandoned ship, Renee ran away to see Kate Bush play in New York. Mom was so mad her hair fell out. All Renee had to say was how inspiring the concert was and that no one in Creekville understood what it was like to have a passion. I never even picked up a musical instrument, just a notebook. I thought about all of my notebooks that were in that bag that got lost. The one either in Ohio or West Virginia. I wondered if someone else got my bag and if they'd read them. If so, they'd know a girl named Josie was dying to finally have sex. And that she loved ketchup and wearing flip-flops in December, which you can do in North Carolina. A cab driver reluctantly changed the radio station to Q101 and a commercial came on. Belmont and Clark, if you dare. A sinister voice spoke, followed by a loud motorcycle revving up. That's for the alley, my sister said. I just lost my spot. Oh, wait, where were we? That's for the alley, Renee said of the commercial. It's a store that sells... Oh, my God, can you turn this up? She squealed. The second, an obnoxious woo came on the radio, followed by a catchy guitar riff. Jeff Lane, Sub Pop's darling, at the time, was on the radio. I could see him swinging his floppy hair around just like he did in the music video that had been all over MTV. Renee banged her bleached blonde hair to the hit song Time. As he sang, I thought I could take my time, but time takes it all. I said I'd be there soon. Now my back's against the wall. At your beck and call. I'm not going to sing, so I just read the lyrics. Jeff screeched in that manic way that was hot at the time. Renee started singing along, all the while dancing in her seat. And that's a little
All right.
of when she just got to Chicago.
So Renee was the sister of Josie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So when she got to Chicago and was seeing this new place, and we can tell something about the dynamic in the sisters because she doesn't, her sister never really pays attention to her.
Yeah, they're a little estranged.
Yeah, I could feel that. I could feel that. I love it. Well, applause, applause, applause. Sherry Woods. Yay, yay. It's so wonderful to have you on. And everybody, I would just say from today to think about what is that book inside of you? What wants to be spoken about? What from your past is yours and yours alone? And that's where abuse and stuff like this, guess what? That stuff is, it's part of who we are. And we get to express it.
Yeah.
We get to not be silenced by it. That's been so much of my journey is learning to have my voice, because when I was growing up, it was just squelched, right? So I lived in a book.
Yeah.
Somebody else's book, like the Scarlet Pimpernel, one of my favorite little books. I would just read a book every night.
Yeah.
To try to survive. But you've got a book in you, at least one book, and you've definitely got something that nobody else has. And that's what I hope everyone remembers and thinks about today as you leave here. And maybe you don't feel like a bold badass today. Maybe today's been a kind of rough day and you don't feel like a bold badass. but I can assure you that you are, because you have stuck in here with us. You've talked, you've in the chat, you've listened, and we'll be here. I'll be here next week, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific again with another amazing guest. And actually this next week, I will be broadcasting live from a cruise. So let's watch.
Trying to get away from me.
The cruise for the podcast. Podcasters Cruise. It's now called the New Media Cruise. No, I don't need to get away from you. You know, some of the Airbnb guests you like better than others, and we just instantly had a connection. So I was like, I gotta have you on my show, even though you'd never been on a show. But look, you got on here.
I've never been on a podcast. Everyone's doing a podcast now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, a lot of podcasts are great, but me and a friend of mine were going to do a podcast called Another Stupid Podcast. So we never did it.
I think that's hilarious. Another stupid podcast sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, you know, everybody, some people just are audio, but I like the video format.
It's
I
just
think it's
catching
fun.
on, and I get it. I mean, it is kind of relaxing to listen to a certain part of the day. I mean, even if you listen to like a true crime podcast, it might not be
for
relaxing.
Sure. Oh no.
Maybe the person
That relaxes me. I don't know why. I like to watch true crime. I watch these people and it's like The Perfect Neighbor. Ooh. But for some reason that I do relax watching those things. Well, everybody, really glad you were here, Sherry.
Thank you.
Glad you came through the front door from Airbnb and then ended up in the special chair, the guest chair. And this is the first time I've actually broadcast from here with a guest here. Now, I've done it at the Red Rocks in Sedona a few weeks ago, and I've done it on a cruise ship before, but not here. So this is a newbie for me too.
That's cool.
All right. So you all think about your book, because you have one, and you have a world within you, and that world gets to see the light of day. That's what today's been about. And we'll see you next week on the Bold Badass Business Show.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.